My name is Victoria Holloway, and I'm 22. I'm born and raised in Georgia. Growing up, my parents were Christian, and we went to church every Sunday. It was very almost religious. It's where we were on Sundays. We were there early, and we stayed late. And then when I was 8 years old, my little sister was born, and she was diagnosed with a Cardi syndrome, which is a form of epilepsy. And the church that we were in just didn't have the capabilities of taking care of a special needs child. So we stopped going to church, and I can remember for a little bit begging my parents to go to church. And it was just, we had gotten in this routine of not going that it just turned into us not going anymore. So from ages 8 to 18, I did not go to church. And in those teenage years was when I kind of did my own thing, kind of rebelled a little, and just really didn't know God personally. I don't think ever. I think when I was a kid, I went because my parents told me to, and then in those really pivotal years when I needed that guidance, I didn't have it. When I was a little bit older in high school, someone that I was really close with actually ended up leaving and moving really far away, and it ended not great and ended very dramatically, and I was just a kid and I didn't understand the magnitude of any of the situation of what was going on. But I did know that this person was really close with me and was family to me. And then when they left, I was devastated. I just thought that if God was real, and if this God that I believed in when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, if he was real, that the situation would be fixed. And it would be fixed in the timeline that I had put in my head. And when it wasn't fixed by that certain month and date that I had put in my head it was going to be fixed, I just kind of gave up. I think something that really hit me was I was just mean to people, and I felt it. I could feel I didn't care about other people's feelings. I didn't care about if I said something that hurt them. I could care less. And one night I just remember being so over myself and so honestly just ready to give up. And I never had suicidal thoughts before, and I never thought about how to do it, but I can remember going to bed and thinking, I just don't want to wake up tomorrow. The next day I woke up and was just great, another day, and happened to hear an online pastor preaching. It was a Sunday morning, and just happened to hear it and decided to go to that church, and cried literally the entire way there. Cried in the parking lot, cried getting to my seat, cried the whole service. And then when they did the altar call, it was I finally felt good enough to go to the altar and to actually ask God for help. And when I did, I can't describe it any other way other than I literally felt bricks were lifted off my chest. About a month after I got saved, our church did an announcement that they were hosting a college program. It was me a 2-year internship, and I was all for it because it wasn't necessarily that I felt super called to ministry. It was just I needed to know more about this God that I had just discovered personally for myself, and this God that I was serving. Pretty much drank from a fire hydrant for 2 years, and it was just overwhelming, but in all the best ways possible. He helped kind of break away those hurts and kind of mold me into a new person. So this was my very first tattoo. I got it when I was 19, which was right after I got saved. It stands for Romans 1:16, which means I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I think it meant so much to me because for so long, I either didn't understand God and all his scriptures and who he was, and then I was starting to figure it out, and I wanted to tell people about it, and I was no longer afraid of my roots, and I was no longer afraid of what I was figuring out and learning, and I just wanted to literally shout it from the rooftops. But this one is the Creation of Man painting that Michelangelo painted in the Sistine Chapel. I love to paint. I feel that when I was 5 years old, everyone wants to be something when they grow up. I wanted to be an artist. So I really like to dissect the meanings behind paintings, and what I love about it is God's finger is like going after Adam, and Adam is just like chilling and like hanging out, and God is like pursuing Adam, pursuing after him. And so it just is such a great reminder that God pursues us, and he goes after us, just like he did with Adam and just like he did with everyone. My lion tattoo is my biggest tattoo, and it honestly means the most to me. I just had this revelation that Jesus was like fully human, which is like very obvious, but it was like it really set in that he was fully human, and he felt literally everything that we feel, which is why he's so much more relatable to us. But he was sick, and he knows what it's like to be sad. He knows what it's like to be happy, all these different things. And so when he was on the cross and he felt like God left him, it was just a feeling. And how oftentimes we feel like God has left us, but it's just a feeling. I love to paint and do art and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not normally the type of artist that can get like a vision and paint like whatever God shows me. But this is the only time I've ever like gotten a true vision I know is from the Holy Spirit. If I could tell anybody anything, it would be not to give up on God and not to give up on yourself. Just because the circumstance and the situation that you're in right now looks bad, or you feel like it's not going great or it's not going to end great, does not mean that God does not have his hand on your life, and it doesn't mean that you can't overcome whatever situation you're in.